The estate was less a home and more a tombstone, perched precariously on the cusp of the Fadon peaks. Elias Thorne inherited Blackwood Manor from a distant, eccentric uncle he had never met. The air inside was thick with dust and the scent of decay, each shadow seeming to hold its breath as he stepped across the threshold. He sought solitude here, perhaps inspiration, or merely an escape from the relentless noise of the city. He found something else entirely. Weeks rolled into a monotonous gray existence. Elias explored the crumbling edifice, cataloging its forgotten relics, moth-eaten tapestries, brittle furniture draped in sheets like ghosts, and rooms sealed off for decades. It was in one such room, a former study choked with cupboards and filled with peculiar, defunct scientific apparatus, that he found it. Twisted around a rusted metal frame, snaking through tangled wires and vacuum tubes that belonged to no device he recognized, was a single length of cable. It was unlike any other wire he had ever seen, dark, almost obsidian, with a faint, unsettling sheen that seemed to absorb the dim light. It led now where he could discern, merely vanishing into a crack in the ancient plaster wall, as if woven into the very structure of the house. Curiosity, that most dangerous of human frailties, pricked at him. He felt an inexplicable pull towards the wire, a faint, almost inaudible hum seeming to emanate from it when the house was at its stillest. Using a scavenged radio receiver from the study, he carefully, painstakingly, rigged a connection to the strange cable. His hands trembled not from the delicate work, but from an instinctive dread. At first, there was only static, a harsh, spitting white noise. But the static had a quality to it, a depth that ordinary interference lacked. It was pregnant with possibility, a low thrum beneath the surface, like a vast, sleeping entity breathing slowly. He listened for hours each day, drawn by an invisible leash. Slowly, imperceptibly, the static began to change. Whispers threaded through the hiss, faint at first, like wind through dry bones. They were fragmented, nonsensical words, but they held his attention with terrifying intensity. He started recording the sounds, playing them back, poring over them in the oppressive silence of the manor. The whispers grew bolder, clearer. They began to form words and phrases. They spoke of places, a twisted logic, of sights that curdled the mind. They seemed to know things about him, private fears and forgotten memories, spoken in voices that were not one, but many, a chorus of spectral murmurs. He felt a presence now, cold and watchful. Shadows elongated, clinging to corners, and the air in the room with the wire grew colder than anywhere else in the manor, regardless of the fire in the hearth downstairs. The whispers claimed to be watchers, listeners from a place beyond the skin of the world. They spoke of the wire as a thread, a bridge they had cast across the gulf, seeking those who would listen. Seeking Elias. His sleep became a fractured landscape of nightmares, filled with impossible geometries and the relentless hum of the wire. He stopped eating, stopped caring about the outside world. The wire and its voices became his entire reality. They promised understanding, true sight, if only he would cross. They needed a passage. One storm-lashed night, the wire began to vibrate violently. The static shrieked, no longer whispers, but a cacophony of maddened, alien voices pressing in. The lights in the manor flickered and died. In the pitch blackness of the study, a faint, sickly green light pulsed from the crack where the wire entered the wall. The voices howled, a single, unified demand. Join us. Be the bridge. Elias, driven mad by isolation and the incessant psychic assault, reached out. His fingers brushed the cold, dark wire. A searing pain shot through him, and the air filled with the smell of ozone and burning flesh. He felt himself being pulled, violently, irresistibly, towards the pulsating light in the wall. It was like being stretched, dissolved, absorbed into a fabric of pure, screaming static. The last sound Ilias Thorn heard was his own fading scream, swallowed by the triumphant roar of the voices from the other side. The storm passed. The manor stood silent once more on the moor. The room was empty, save for the strange apparatus and the dark wire still leading into the crack in the wall. But the Loham was gone. Now there was only a faint, expectant silence, waiting for the next soul to listen too closely to the static.